Well, so I've got my screen set up in the Brady Bunch view that we sometimes call it, so I can see everyone's faces who are here. Um, I wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you for being here and being part of AMT 2021. The last 18 months have been very different. The last conference, the AMT conference in 2019 at Melbourne Uni, I put my hand up and thought, sure, I can have a go at doing that. And I didn't expect it to then turn into a pandemic for 18 months. And, unfortunately, others who wanted to assist weren't able to assist, and homeschooling. And it's been a challenge, but I'm very happy to put in the work because I believe in this conference, and I'm a big supporter of this conference. Since I think it was 2011, I went to the Swinburne one, which I believe Jock was convening, and ever since then, this has been the core conference. I think for me, that day I felt like there's sometimes you meet people and you get that sense these are my people in some way, and that happened on that day. So as I look around, I can see Jock, Bridget, some of those that I have known since then, and I'm very thankful for the support that they've given me since then. So very happy to be part of AMT again. Thank you. Without you presenting your papers, without your support, this conference does not happen. I do want to thank Asha, Josh, and Daisy and the VU events team for being behind the scenes and helping. An online conference, a virtual conference, is not an easy feat. There's so many technical issues that could happen, and thankfully they didn't happen. I was just at a previous a paper and of Michael's, and we were talking about shipwrecks, and I'm very thankful that AMT 2021 was not a shipwreck by any means. We got through it. So thank you again to the VU events team. Thanks to Vic Uni, who supported this with a lot of in-kind support. What we normally do at this last session is we try and find out who may potentially want to put their hand up for the next AMT conference, get an idea of some of the themes that we might want to talk about in the next AMT, which would be 2023. It sounds like a long time away, but I can guarantee you it'll come up very quickly. I'm not sure, Bridget, if you wanted to say anything. I don't want to put you on the spot, and you're on mute, the 2020.
Okay. Yes, I've only been doing this for 18 months. Look, I actually want to thank you first, Mark. Well, on the part of past conveners and the attendees, we're all very grateful to Victoria University of Technology for taking on this conference and for being nimble as we've had to pivot towards a completely online event. Daisy and Josh and other people have done an amazing job behind the scenes, I think, to really have this event run pretty seamlessly in terms of technology. Most of all, I want to thank you, Mark. It was great to start to get to know you at Jock's conference at Swinburne. I remember you and Michael Thurlow at the conference at the NFSA in 2015, and these sort of two young Turk television scholars drinking together at the conference dinner. Those were the days when we could do such things. And there's really been a sense since the last conference that Sybil organised of how prepared you were to throw yourself into AMT and to keep it going and to, I think, help take it to a new generation. So I'm hugely appreciative to you of that. I'm so sorry we can't buy you a drink, but I would like to say there will be, I need your address, but there will be a little something coming. Hopefully we can all get together, which we will talk about next. I know I've completely hijacked the conversation, but just thank you so much, Mark. And could I maybe suggest that everyone unmute themselves and give a round of applause to Mark, and if anyone else would like to say anything or...
Yeah, I would say it's been a fantastic effort, Mark. I'm so impressed because I just know what a struggle it was looking like earlier on for you. And it was wonderful the way you just kept going and that VU really got in behind you. It was so fantastic to see. I personally found it a very enjoyable conference. And I thought the idea of naming the room separately was brilliant, and I'm sure it will be a much followed convention. And I thought I really I was surprised how well I thought the 30-minute sessions with just one speaker worked. Although I think what you can't mitigate for there very easily is the possibility of a little technical glitch at the start, which then eats up 5 minutes of time or something by the time you've calmed yourself down after realizing you've not put your slides up or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah, but I think overall it's run so well and you're heartily to be congratulated. I'm really impressed.
Hey, Jock Given here. Totally agree. Thank you for the extraordinary work to get it going. People in Victoria have been doing well over the last 18 months, but it's been an amazing job. And thanks. I found, although it would be great to be there in person, but our expectations are fairly diminished at the moment. And this has totally exceeded my expectations of sitting in a room for 2 days.
Yeah.
It's been really enjoyable. And I think the scheduling has worked extremely well. You know, that everyone's got stuff they're doing and other things. And I think that's just worked very, very well, moving between sessions. Lots of highlights for me, but I really thought Lucy's session at lunchtime today from Bill Gandra is just astounding.
Yep.
You know, what a powerhouse. I mean, really, just what an incredible piece of work that is being done there. The expansion of a media enterprise and to get such a different sort of narrative about what's happening in media, remarkable. So thanks to Lucy and thanks Mark and others who organised for her to be here. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can see, but Lucy actually is on here. So
on her maternity leave,
on
she's
her maternity
still sitting in
leave
with us.
and still here. So we're very thankful.
Yeah.
Actually working quite a lot in lockdown, so it's okay. Busier than ever, I think.
Yeah. Thanks, Lucy. And I see Margaret Van Heekeren, a past convener there as well. Convening AMT for Margaret once was not enough, so she co-convened it a second time, as did I. So we are gluttons for punishment. Anything you want to say, Margaret, before we talk about what Mark asked us to talk about 5 or 10 minutes ago, which is AMT 2023?
Only I actually posted something in chat earlier. I sort of realised we're going around the room, but yeah, just to reaffirm what I said there, it's really been stellar. And yeah, organising a conference is hard enough without the challenges of having to do it online, which you faced. And I thought too, when Sybil mentioned, yeah, I just think the room naming is just a brilliant idea, and yeah, long may that continue. Yeah, so thank you so much to everyone. It's been excellent.
Thanks, Margaret. Okay, well, look, 2023, 2 years, open borders, we're hoping, face-to-face, in-person, conference dinner, alcohol, all of those things will hopefully be involved. Now, I don't know if, I mean, Mark and I may have had a little bit of a text exchange about what could be a good possibility, but before that, does anyone want to actually indicate any interest? You know, AMT, the last session is always kind of like an auction. The top bidder gets to do work for the next 2 years. Any show of hands? Okay, I think I might put someone on the spot, which is Mark and I were wondering maybe about Southern Queensland. But Andrew, yes, I know this is very mean. We didn't even discuss it with you first, and I should say
I know exactly.
My thought bubble. It's, you know, that you've come to more than one AMT now. You and Ashley have engaged.
I love the conference. I would love to have it here. I'm sure Ashley would agree with me. I mentally, look, I'd love to be involved in that. I mentally just am thinking about the 3 or 4 new courses I've got to write, plus the other stuff I'm doing. Otherwise, I would have possibly even just volunteered straight up. But we would have to probably talk to the powers that be and see if there's any support for that sort of thing and all that as well. But what are your thoughts, Ashley?
He's got his camera and his mic off his run.
He might have had
away.
to go and deal with something inside the room.
Andrew, that's and look, I realize I'm totally putting you on the spot.
No,
I
that's
didn't
all
even
right.
send you a quick email before this. I'll just say, in terms of the sort of locations and sequencing, obviously this one and the last one were both done out of Melbourne. It hasn't mattered this time because it's been an online experience. The intention originally, those of you who were there 2 years ago, had been to possibly have this event somewhere in regional Victoria, but we've explored the regions from the metropolis, as it were. Mark did wonder about Perth. I like that idea, but I'm a little ambivalent about it because Colette Snowden had some real difficulty attracting people to Adelaide and prepared to fly to Adelaide. So as much as I have a strong interest in WA media history, as Kate knows, but I'm not sure how other people would feel about the willingness of participants to actually get funding to go across to Perth.
Bridget, could I just add there, and I would love to, I have never been to Perth. I am so keen to get to Perth, so I'd really love a conference there. But I'm just thinking, yes, the cost, difficulty, but we really don't know what airfares are going to be like post-COVID. It's not looking good. I guess we're talking 2 years down the track, so it may have settled, but I just think that's an added uncertainty as well.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I would say about that is that I've been to a conference in Perth, and there was a I'm surprised you weren't there, Margaret. It was a journalism one years ago.
I know I didn't go because I couldn't afford.
Yeah, and also I have to say, you have a whole day to get there and a whole day to get home. So if you're coming from the east, so it actually reduces the number of people who can come for the whole 2 or 3 days or whatever. Yeah. So that it'd be ideal. It was great. I'm so glad I went to that one, but I actually wonder if it might be better to keep it on this side of the country. What about Tassie? Have they done anything ever for us?
No, actually, that's an interesting point. They haven't. I guess we've got to hope that Tasmania and Western Australia will actually really reopen their borders to the rest of us, but
that's true, actually, yeah.
But sorry, I'm being facetious, but I mean, Tasmania is an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I realised yesterday that there was no one at this conference from WA. Is there anyone here from Tasmania? There's Kenna McTavish, I think.
Kenna and Claire Parnell both have, and they're both young scholars, have connections. They're both from Tassie, but they're at the University of Melbourne. So
right.
We'd have to find someone at UTAS who was interested, and I don't know that we've had anyone from UTAS for a while, have we?
There's Libby Lester there. I'm not sure if she's ever come to AMT. She's a terrific scholar, and maybe it could be a sort of environmental history, media theme, environment in the media or something. Yeah. But again, how would people feel about Mark? Sorry, I've totally taken over. Do you want to say anything about distance, cost, inclination?
No, because you know more about this than me. I'm up for whoever's willing to take it on. I will say that during doing this conference, I have set up a Gmail account. The Twitter account is all set up. There's documents and things set up now, so I can hand that so that we're using the same accounts for the future AMTs. And I'm also obviously in the back end and happy to assist. The other thing that we haven't mentioned as part of this conference, I'll just mention it now, is I'm also trying to put together a Media Traditions website to house all the previous conference materials. I'm still doing that in the back end, but if anyone does have photos or booklets or any information from previous conferences that they can send through, even just to the Media Traditions Gmail account, that would be great. I'm going through some of the information that Bridget's given me. I'm looking on web crawlers and things to try and get previous versions of websites because they're now down.
Yeah.
So I've managed to do that for the CQU University. I managed to get a stack of papers, PDFs that aren't available online, but I've sourced them. So I'll start to build that. So we'll have essentially one house that we can look at all those previous conferences. So.
And Mark, that's fantastic. He sent me a link to an early version of this a couple of weeks ago, and it's such a great thing to do. I've got a few suggestions on it, Mark, but it's I'm so glad to have that. We had tried through the Centre for Media History at Macquarie, through one of our databases, we had a dedicated web page on all of the previous conferences, but that database is in some sort of state of transition at Macquarie. I think it may currently have been hacked and turned into a porn site. I do not joke. So I think what you're doing, Mark, is better. That's why I haven't been able to send you a link to it.
Ashley and Andrew had their hands up.
Yes, well, it was just to, number one, for me, apologise because I had someone come to the door that I just needed to go and sort out. So my apologies for that. It always happens at that point. Andrew just identified about for us, and certainly it's something I'd be very keen for us to look at doing. We'd need to just confirm internally if we had the support, of course, but as a concept, we'd be certainly very keen to look at hosting it at the moment in the relatively non-diseased southern Queensland.
It's looking better and better.
So we'll keep it that way if we can, but we'd certainly love to explore that with you. Yeah.
Thanks. Ashley, is just, sorry, really quick question. Is Mary Spongberg your, is she your DBC research or not?
No, we're, so that's John Bell is DBC research, and Karen Nelson is DVCA. Okay. Yeah.
No, thank you. I just wondered if I knew this person. Yeah.
Sorry, I had actually tried to phone our boss and see if I could just say, hey, look, you're going to give us some money for this, but I couldn't get hold of her at the moment. But then managed to get onto Ashley. So yeah, and there's a couple of us. So if there's possibly a third person who I won't name because I don't want to put them in it in case they don't want to help out or can't help out. But if there's three of us, it might help spread the load a little bit too. So that'll be.
And look, if you go away and just think in terms of new courses, workload, etc., that or PhD, that you can't do it, that's completely reasonable. Or if it also becomes apparent that there may not be some institutional support, that's fine. And we can, you know, AMT has never fallen over before. There's been one or two times where a few of us, Margaret, Jock, have been a little bit worried, but it's always come off. So, you know, there's still 2 years to sort this out. I mean, I think it would be a concern if there was no slight nibble today. But I should also say that if anyone else in this Zoom room is interested or has heard of anyone else who may be interested, then, you know, you can send that, either announce it now or shoot Mark or an email, CC me in if you like. One of the attractions of Queensland, apart from having two scholars from USQ with us, is that it's been, I think it was it 2013 that the conference was in Brisbane at UQ, and much earlier there was a conference at CQU. So we've never actually been in southern Queensland, and it's been a number of years since we were in Queensland. But if that proves not to be possible, then I'm sure we can try to drum up interest from elsewhere around Australia.
We'll get on with it.
Andrew and Ashley, you don't need more pressure, but I attended the day of the Australian Historical Association conference, which is a bigger conference than AMT, I know, but it was done at in Toowoomba in 2019, 2 years ago in July, and I think very successfully. So whoever the people were who made that happen, you probably attended, were
Yeah.
part of it there.
I-
But, I thought that was a great event and really worked well in the city. Yeah, it was great.
It's not, no, it should work well in the city. And I was part of that organising committee for that conference too. But yeah, I think we can put on a good welcome for you here. We just need to work out the details.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it now.
Good. We've talked you into it.
Yeah. No, well, like I said, I was keen. I was just mindful of. I'm trying to get better at saying no to things.
Yeah. And taking on a conference. I mean, it's not the biggest conference in the world, but there's still a lot to do. And I think being able to share it, because Mark, for various reasons, largely COVID related, other people who'd expressed interest, it just, Mark was literally the last man standing and was so committed to keeping it going. But it's been a lot of work. So if you can share it and assume that it's going to be on site, then they're two big kind of bonuses that Mark didn't have.
I may not be standing at the end of tonight.
Well, you should be drinking. Sorry.
So I think we can just go with Ashley and Andrew as a continuing on the conversation for now.
Yes. Yep.
And-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it'd be really good. It'd be great to have you with us there and to be able to really enjoy, the space and to have those conversations. So I guess it's thinking around the theme.
And yeah, that's right. And just another thing to say is that in terms of timing, it's usually later in the year, but it can be really anywhere from probably July to December. July, there are the big disciplinary conferences, the AHA, ANZCA, etc. Maybe September might be better, but it could also be November or December. Checking with the timing of JERA is always an issue. But again, there's a good deal of flexibility there. It's sort of, it bumps around in those last several months of the year. So you could come up with dates that, would largely work for you and your institution.
Yes. Yep. That's good.
And your semesters and your teaching and marking.
Yes, that's right. And we're all rattling through that challenge of the trimester structures and short runs. So the 6 and 10 weeks and all that's on the agenda at the moment. So yeah.
Okay. And then there's the football grand finals, as Mark, that was one of the things. That's why this conference is not on a Friday.
Yes. Yeah.
Just in case it was too close to the long weekends and all of that. Yeah.
And we've hijacked all things sport in Queensland. So I think we have
AMT cannot be accused of super spreading anything.
No, that's right. And I do think we've got a very nervous premier who's trying to pull off the grand final.
Yeah.
So we do have about, I think, 6 cases, which I mean is, like nothing to what's going on in New South Wales and Victoria, but they've upped the face mask wearing in Brisbane and shutting down a few things at the moment just to try to contain. So that's great.
Okay, we'll stay safe, as they say.
Yes.
Shall we talk about themes?
Yeah.
Did you want to? Is there anyone who has ideas around themes? Did you want to mention a few themes?
Bye, Judy.
When you mentioned with Tasmania, because of Libby and the environmental focus, but I actually thought, that would make a good theme.
Yeah.
And history of actually Laurie Zion could be good as well, because he's done work on the history of weather reporting, etc. But yeah. And, I mean, so if people attempt to sort of historicize work on, climate communication, etc. Yeah. There'd be all sorts of things that could be looked at. Yeah.
Yeah, Deb Anderson's very strong in that field too. Her work's terrific.
Can I just say one of the things when we thought about the theme around regional media, that there were some concerns whether it was too narrow and whether we were going to get limited papers. And I think actually what we found is we got some really interesting papers by making people explore it a little bit further. So I think don't be concerned if it is slightly niche to some extent.
Yeah.
Another alternative might be, and I'm not pushing this at all, but I'm just wondering in terms of the security aspects of the world at the moment, whether, and our region, whether actually the region and that journalism around that, you know, security, and, you know, I hate to be a downer, but I think it could be sort of very pertinent by then too, just the whole thing about security in this region, defence, etc. And obviously there'd be a strong journalism related thing there, media thing. Just a thought. Hate to be a negatron, but
just adding to that, or maybe moving slightly to one side, Sybil, I'd be interested I'd be interested to learn about the periodic discoveries of Asia that have happened in Australia, in Australian media. It seems that's just a freewheeling thought, but it's an interesting possible thread.
And yeah, Michael Dwyer is certainly working in that area. So no, that's an interesting thought, Robert. Andrew, Ashley, do you have any sort of instinctive preference, or not really at this point?
Well, I was thinking it's probably been done, but these sort of things, a broader catch-all theme would be something along borders and permeability of borders, and, you know, maybe I'm thinking about borders because we're thinking about state border closures and all that sort of stuff, but that would sort of cover security and possibly Asia and media transgression of borders and things like that.
Doc just put in the chat around politics and media. So that could potentially cover some of that as well.
That would probably suit.
Which we could do. So there was an early one, but it was a long time ago now. Was it about 2005? The one at University of Canberra did at Parliament House. That's not to say 18 years later there's not room, but I just thought I'd put that out there anyway.
Was that the politics in 2005, Bridget?
Yeah. So Peter Putness and Trish Payne ran it, and it was at old Parliament House. It was really good. But
Peter was one of our former lecturers from here.
Oh, that's right. He was Toowoomba. Yeah. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go to a Zoom meeting, but I can leave and say goodbye to everyone. And
I think we're at a point where we could probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
We've pushed Ashley and Andrew enough. I'm here to help, and I'll pass on and assist how I can with all the stuff that we've developed over the last 12 months.
You've set quite a high standard for us, Mark. With everything running so smoothly today over the last 2 days. So
I don't have a sunny location like yours though, so you'll sell us with that if we can come on site.
That's right.
I just want to say thanks again, Sybil and Bridget in particular, for assisting me. Thank you again, and Andrew and Ashley, we can chat once you've sorted out potentially if it can happen, and any questions and things that you have, happy to support.
Yep, no, that's wonderful. Would love to have you here.
Yeah.
Well,
it sounds anywhere at the moment sounds good, but Toowoomba sounds really good.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, somewhere north. So
yes, that's right.
Jennifer's saying in the chat that she likes borders. Jock agrees. It would be sort of nice and quite open and permeable in a way, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Can I just say too, it also allows for the fact that there's so much permeability now with media and media expression, so you can have it in both ways, both the content but also the forms that are used.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Beyond borders.
Mark, would you mind shooting me your, if you don't mind, your home postal address, and I promise not to turn into a stalker.
Well, I know you can't come because you're in lockdown.
No, I can't. I'm not allowed. I know. I'll just stalk you then, when I'm allowed into Victoria.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks again. Hopefully
Thank
see you
you.
all soon. Cheers.
Thank you.
See you.